Hello Alpha Magic friends and fans of the channel. Today we've got a pretty exciting deck simulator for you. So on the left we have our Alpha 40 playmat, and on the right we have our local old school playmat, and we're going to look at the Alpha 40 deck that we ran in the month of August. Or I should say I ran in the month of August. I don't know why I use the plural or the collective we pronouns, but I include all of you in my decision making. So this is the 40 card alpha deck that I ran in the month of August. Happy to report that it did okay. It did a little bit better than all of the previous months that you've seen on the channel. We went 1 and 2 in our league matches. We lost 2 of our matches, 1 game to 2 games. So we came pretty close, and we won 1 of our matches 2 games to 1 game. I'm gonna do another deck tech video where I go through this deck in its entirety and then make some changes for the month of September, like you've seen previously on the channel. So I won't go into too much detail about this particular deck, but I was lucky enough to advance to the playoffs, which is the top 16 of the league. And I lost my first round playoff match this morning in 3 games to a really close red-white splashing black aggressive deck, just like my deck. So it was very kind of like a mirror match in some situations. And he was running Orcish artilleries, and I was trying to get around, and circle of protection reds as well. So the red spells in my deck could be prevented. So my only win condition was running Time Twister into Black Vice, and I was probably 1 or 2 turns away in game 3 from drawing the regrowth. He had Wheel of Fortune in his deck, so he Wheel of Fortuned my Time Twister that was in my hand, and I was about a turn or 2 away from regrowing it in order to win, but he got me, and he was down to a couple life points, so it was really close. What we're gonna do is just to kind of remember and make some comments about what was in the red deck. We're gonna match it up against an Alpha 40 budget blue and white deck that you've seen on the channel. This is just like low quality, low condition, inexpensive common blue cards. It's a starter deck with some white spells in there as well, and creatures. Kind of a Psychic Venom deck, but not entirely. It's also missing Lord of Atlantis, Icy Manipulator. I could put some of those cards in there and try to make it competitive, but for today's experiment and sort of simulated game, Alpha 40 game, we're just going to use the red aggressive deck that we played as it was in the month of August, before we do a deck tech video on that and make some changes. And then we're just going to use this Alpha 40 budget deck. It probably costs less than $500. You could run into a deck like this in the league. Someone that just starting picking up alpha cards could easily build a deck like this blue-white deck that you see on the right-hand side of your screen. And we're just gonna test it out, and we're gonna see if by chance it stands a chance to this more expensive alpha aggressive deck. And then I think tomorrow in real life, we're gonna get together and play some actual Alpha 40 with some local groups, friends. I might try to film some of those matches. We've also got some exciting alpha cards coming in the mail. I'll make some videos on those if I haven't already, and then we'll do the deck tech, the monthly deck tech to the main deck here, and we will make some changes for September. So we'll do a quick cut. You can cut like that. Alpha 40 on the left. We'll use different colored dice to keep track of life points. We'll roll to see who goes first, usually high roll, or you can call odds or even. So I'm gonna call odds for the Alpha 40 deck, and then we'll see. It's a 6, so the budget deck will get to go first. That's good for the budget deck. We start by drawing 7 cards, like that. And then the advantage in Alpha 40 is that the first player draws a card on their first turn. So we'll do it like that. We still see, okay, so there's our libraries. at the top, life points. Check and see if you have lands and spells. Alpha 40 deck does have lands and spells, so we have to keep that mess. Budget also has lands and spells pretty good. We've got some islands and plains. Merfolk with Pearl Trident, Psychic Venom, Prodigal Sorcerer, looking pretty good actually for the budget deck. We're gonna draw a card. We got an island, so we're gonna play an island over here. We're gonna tap that and drop down one Merfolk of the Pearl Trident. There we go. So that's our first turn for the budget deck. We're using clear sleeves. We're down to 6 cards in our hand. Most of these are common alpha cards like I mentioned before. Okay, so we pass the turn to the Alpha 40 deck. This deck has mountains and an island. We're gonna start by playing this mountain over here, and we can't do anything with it. We have a fireball, a regrowth, jade statue, so we have to pass the turn. We'll start by untapping, drawing a card over here. We get another island. We'll play that so we can pretend that we have counterspell. We'll attack with the Pearl Trident. This will take a damage to 19, and I think we're also going to, why not? We're gonna tap 2 islands this way. You can see that, that's pretty good. And we're gonna play this Psychic Venom on this mountain over here, and then we're gonna pass the turn. So we'll start by untapping, drawing a card. There's another land. We'll play the other mountain. We still can't cast anything. We could fireball for 1 but take 2 damage. You might have to do that at some point. So we'll pass the turn over here. Budget deck untaps, draws a card. Let's play another island, why not? We'll move to combat. We'll swing for 1 with the Merfolk with the Pearl Trident. Go down to 18 over here. Can we cast anything else? We sure can. We can cast a Prodigal Sorcerer. So we'll tap 3 and we'll cast Timmy. Perfect. Now we're down to 4 cards. Timmy can also tap to do 1 damage to any targets. Now we'll pass the turn, untap, draw a card. That's somewhat helpful. Let's play this mountain. So we've got 3 mana sources on the Alpha 40 deck. We need to get a draw engine going, so we'll tap these 2 mountains. Let's tap them this direction so you can see. I like to tap 90 degrees, FYI. We're gonna cast Howling Mine, which lets us draw 2 extra cards per turn. I'm just gonna put a counter on there to remember to draw 2. And I'm also gonna put the Psychic Venom counter. Sometimes I use dice in webcam games, but in real life you can actually put the cards under the lands. But for now, I'll just put a dice on there just to remember it takes 2 damage. Still can't cast anything else. So we're gonna pass the turn, untap the Merfolk. This player budget deck draws 2 cards. And I think we're going to go ahead and play, we'll let the cat out of the bag, let them know we're playing 2 color after we untap everything. We drop a plains onto the battlefield here. Make sure we got plenty of room. Okay. Then what are we going to do? We are going to play the land. We can cast Merfolk. We can tap their Venom, which we might do. We can also attack with Tim or do 1 damage with Tim. Let's go ahead and why don't we just move to combat since they don't have any blockers. We'll swing for 2. We'll get through. We'll go to 16. Put the alpha deck at 16. Then we'll do some damage here. We'll tap blue for another Merfolk of the Pearl Trident. We'll tap another blue to twiddle this mountain, and then Alpha 40 will take 2 damage to 14. It's not looking good for this Alpha 40 deck. Now we got some extra lands in our hands. We're just gonna save those. Pass it over here. We're gonna untap our Psychic Venom lands and our mountains. We're gonna draw 2 cards off the Howling Mine. We got 2 more mountains. That's not bad. So we'll play a mountain here for turn. We can not regrow anything. We haven't cast anything. We could cast Jade Statue. We could fireball. We could do Fireball, 1, 2. We could pay, yeah, we can definitely do Fireball. So I think if, let's go ahead and do that just because we're gonna die eventually. So we're gonna have to Fireball here. We're gonna tap 1 to cast Fireball, 1 to do a damage, and then we're gonna pay for additional sources. So if I do the math correctly, we won't. We could take 2 damage to do that. I think we should probably do that. So if we pay 4 mana, we're gonna take 2 damage, go to 12, but 1 to cast, 1 to do 1 damage, 2 damage, and so we'll do one damage to 2 targets, and we'll be able to kill Prodigal Sorcerer and this untapped Merfolk of the Pearl Trident. I think that's correct. So that's all we can do. We are now tapped out. We still have 5 cards in hand, but we got rid of 2 creatures on the budget deck side. We'll pass the turn, they'll untap, they'll draw 2 cards. That's not bad. And we'll play another island, as we have Phantasmal Terrain, so we can turn one of their lands into a different colored basic land. We can also gain a life from the Healing Salve or prevent 3 damage, so we'll save that. Let's go ahead and tap 2 islands. Why not make this mountains? We will make it a island. We don't know they're on blue, so we could pretend that we have a Merfolk deck and we can have with Island Walk. We'll save our Healing Salve, we'll pass the turn. This deck will untap, draw 2, there we go. All right, so now we might escape here. Let's test the power of this red deck. I'm gonna play a land. We're gonna play the mountain. We don't need to play the island because we have an island. We're gonna tap this mountain for a Soul Ring, probably the best card in Alpha. Taps for 2 colorless mana, so let's go ahead and tap it for 2 colorless mana, and then we'll tap 2 mountains, and we're gonna cast Jade Statue. Jade Statue is an artifact, and when you pay 2 colorless, you activate it, and then it becomes a 3/6 creature. 4 cards in hand. We will pass the turn to the budget deck, untap. Draw 2 off the Howling Mine. Let's play a land. Let's play another island. Let's move to combat because this can't activate. So we'll swing for 1. That'll get through. Alpha 40 will be at 11 life. Let's tap 2 islands. Let's put another Psychic Venom on this island, so that when it's tapped, it takes 4 damage. And then we can also Power Sink, which is great because it'll tap our opponent's lands, and if they've got Psychic Venom on that land, they will take damage, potentially winning. That's all we can do that turn, so we'll pass over here, untap the mountains and the Soul Ring. We'll draw 2 off the Howling Mine. Still haven't seen any Black Vices yet, but we just drew 1. Let's go ahead and let's play the Tundra. I'm sure the budget deck would like to put Psychic Venoms on dual lands, but we'll just put this Tundra right there. So now we have access to red, white, and blue mana. We're gonna tap, let's tap this mountain over here. We're gonna cast a Black Vice, put a Black Vice on the table. We can also tap 2 mountains. We can activate this Jade Statue over here, and we can attack for 3. So we get the first points of damage to the budget deck there. We also have a regrowth, but no green spells. We probably need to regrow the Fireball next turn if we can get a green. And then we've got this, we could also use a Soul Ring to activate the statue. We'll do that next time. So we've got 4 cards in hand. We'll pass it over to the budget deck, untap the islands, untap the Merfolk, draw 2 off the Howling Mine. We drew, holy smokes, another Psychic Venom, Power Sink, Holy Salve, Holy Strength. we are going to play a plains. This is looking pretty good for the budget deck today. We're going to tap plains for white. We're going to add Holy Strength to this Merfolk of the Pearl Trident. It's now a 2/3 creature. And then we can also tap 2 islands. We're going to cast another Psychic Venom. We're just going to stack it up on this. This is looking pretty lethal here. So if we were to tap this mountain, the island actually, it would take 6 damage to this player, this Alpha 40 player. We have a Healing Salve, which we can gain life or prevent damage, and we have a Power Sink, which we can counter a spell and potentially tap this mountain island, which is almost like a volcanic island, which they did not print in Alpha. So we'll save those here. We'll pass the turn. I don't think we're going to attack because we want to be able to block this Jade statue. The budget deck needs a way to block that. Untap, draw 2 off the Howling Mine. And we've got mountains, islands, disintegrate. Let's go ahead and play a mountain. And then I think we could move to combat. So we're going to tap the Soul Ring, activate the statue, swing for 3. Maybe I'll tap this direction so you can see the cards. Swing for 3. This is a 2/3 creature. So what we're going to do is we're going to block with the Merfolk of the Pearl Trident, but we're also going to tap a plains. And we're going to prevent up to 3 damage being dealt to a single target. So we're going to save the life of that Merfolk of the Pearl Trident. Pretty cool. All right, I think that's all we can do. We could disintegrate now that they've done that. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's tap a red, and we'll tap 3 colorless. So we're going to cast Disintegrate for 3, targeting this 2/3 Merfolk of the Pearl Trident. It will be disintegrated and removed from the game, so you just turn it sideways, usually in your graveyard, to signify it is removed from the game. Looking a little bit better for the Alpha 40 deck here. And then we pass the turn with 4 cards in hand. Budget deck will untap with 1 card in hand, so it's well under the black vice, but it gets to draw 2 again off the Howling Mine. We can play an island. We can cast a Mesa Pegasus by tapping a plains and an island. It is a 1/1 flyer that bans. We'll keep this Power Sink. I think we're going to try to counter the next spell that this player casts. So we're going to untap, draw 2 off the Howling Mine. Okay. Play another mountain for turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Technically 8 mana. But we're in the danger zone here because we can, let's activate Mr. Statue. We'll swing for 3. This player is going to block with the Mesa Pegasus, sacrificing it to the graveyard. And I think we're going to attempt to, we could Fireball or Disintegrate, but we're going to walk right into this Power Sink. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's, well, actually, let's just wait, because we want to maybe, no, let's do it. 1 red, and then we're going to tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colorless. We're going to cast Fireball for 6, targeting this opponent, but we only have 1 mana open. So this player is going to tap a blue and 2 colorless to Power Sink, which means this Fireball is going to get countered, and then it's going to tap this island over here, and then we're going to take 6 damage on this side. So that was a really good Power Sink. So 6 damage puts us down to 5 life on the Alpha 40 deck. It's looking pretty bad for Alpha 40. We got 4 cards in hand. We're going to pass it over to the budget deck. If we pull a Twiddle, then I think we're going to win. We now are out of cards, but we'll draw 2 off the Howling Mine. We did not get a twiddle, but we'll play this Plains. We'll tap 2 white for a Samite Healer, which is a 1/1 cleric. You can also tap this to prevent 1 damage to any target and pass the turn. So these 1/1 creatures are becoming great chump blockers for this Jade statue. We've got a Tundra and a bunch of islands over here. We're gonna untap, we're gonna draw 2 cards. We've got Savannah and a Lightning Bolt, Disintegrate, looking really good. So we're gonna play a land for turn. We're gonna play this Savannah. We are going to tap a red. And we're going to, we're gonna Lightning Bolt this Samite Healer so we don't have any blockers. That's gonna clear the way for this Jade statue, so we'll activate and swing for 3. We're gonna put the budget deck at 14. And then, watch this, we've got Disintegrate and Regrowth. I think we're gonna go ahead and just Disintegrate for now, since we've got a clear board, they have no cards in hand. We're gonna tap red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's just go ahead and Disintegrate our opponent for 6. They're gonna take that many damage down to 8. 8 to 5 so far. We could just, if we just get a green source, we do have a Savannah, so next turn I think we could regrow one of our burn spells and attack for a bunch. So then we'll pass the turn over here, untap our Plains, draw 2 off the Howling Mine, play a Plains, tap 2 Plains again, we'll place a Samite Healer again, pass the turn over here, we're gonna untap all the mountains, draw 2 off the Howling Mine, Chaos Orb, Disintegrate, we're gonna play another mountain. And let's see, can we do 8 damage? I think we could probably just do 8 damage without having to attack. We'll want to use this colorless mana. Let's see here. We can do a mountain for red, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, why don't we just do that? Okay. All right, so we'll make it interesting. We'll activate Jade Statue. We'll swing for 3. We're gonna block with the Samite Healer, but we did waste 2 colorless mana on that. We could regrow something, but that would waste 2 colorless mana. So we're just gonna go ahead and tap red for the Disintegrate, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If we did the math correctly, we're gonna Disintegrate the budget deck for 8, and boom. That's GG's, shake hands. Final thoughts. It was looking like the budget deck was just gonna run away with this game here, but the Alpha 40 deck was able to hold off the Psychic Venoms on this island, this Phantasmal Terrained island, and get the burn spells when we needed them to kind of just do some fiery damage to the mono blue white Merfolk Psychic Venom budget deck. But that was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Stay tuned for the deck tech video this month where we go through the contents of this Alpha 40 deck and then make some tweaks for September. Appreciate all the subscriptions and likes and comments on this video. Let me know if you like this matchup, and we'll do more of these in the future. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.